right. Hi. Okay, that's going. Okay, hi. My name is Celeste, and I am a therapist. So if you're new here, thank you for giving me a try. Let me just make sure I'm on my mic really quick. Sorry. I'm not on my mic. No, I'm on my mic. All right, we're on our mic. Okay, we're good. All right, so I'm Celeste. Thank you for giving me a try. I come on every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk about things that we struggle with and then kind of walk through ways we can work through it. So last week we talked about the mind-body connection. That episode is streaming everywhere. Hey, Cynthia. That episode's streaming everywhere. So if you're not familiar, there is a whole mind-body connection. An important thing to understand. The reason why I'm able to get these topics is because I've been working with people for years, and I recognize our lack of knowledge has kept us stuck. And so, it's really up to you to be the author of your story and create space to understand, to learn. Podcasts like these, there's tons of podcasts that even goes in deeper topics on the one that you may be struggling with. I kind of talk about different broad topics. And today we're talking about nourishing your vision. So basically, how can I feed my vision or my goals? Again, something that we get in our own way of the future and where we want to be. And it's easy to look at our circumstances, right? That's easy to be like, oh, I can't do this because of this. But how do I get unstuck, right? It's the real thing when people feel stuck. And the reality is that your mind only has access to the information it was given. And so if let's say you didn't see anybody kind of go for it with their dreams, let's say you've seen your caregiver like diminish their worth, not, and you may know they may be talented in something, you've never watched them step out of that comfort zone. So the more you understand how to nourish your vision or your goal, when the barriers come, you'll have the tools to manage it. Right. So I hope this episode is going to be helpful. So let's just kind of start. So if you're listening to me on audio on YouTube, Facebook, you can find, and even on Instagram, you can find these episodes because I stream them live on video, and you can have an actual visual to go kind of with the topic. And also, if you're on a healing journey or understanding journey, a lot of the episodes, things that I talk about pertain to a lot of you individuals, right? It's not like a lot of these things go for everyone. So you can even grab a notebook, take notes if you listen to me on podcast, and go back to those notes, like study those notes. Repetition can help you with being able to for it to click. I listen to videos, I listen to motivational people all the time, and they're saying things that I'm aware of, but being able to have it penetrate in my spirit helps me so that when the barriers come, I'm more leaning into what I know deep down inside, not to what it looks like. So understanding your vision is something that in order for you to work on your goals, you have to understand what is my vision? And so we're going to just quickly look at how can you understand your vision, because people may not realize that. And before we talk about how to understand our vision, I'm going to put this wellness wheel up really quick. So you can see these are the different areas of your life, right? So there's different goals that you may have around physical wellness. I'm going to say it because I forgot people are listening on audio. So physical wellness, your intellectual wellness, your spiritual wellness, emotional, social, occupational, your financial wellness, and environmental wellness. And if you Google wellness wheel, and you'll find different variations of this. I'll also link it in the show notes. So if you are listening and you just want to click on the show notes, you'll have it in the show notes. But as we're talking about this idea of your vision, right? Because it's not just about what I want to do for work or what my professional goals is. This is like life, right? And so if you look at this wheel and break down these different areas, so think about these areas as I'm talking about your vision. So to understand your vision, you got to consider what your values are, your passion, and what are your long-term goals, and how they can guide you towards a meaningful path. Because I recognize that a lot of times people struggle with like, where do I start, or how does it work, or how can I do this? So I want to help you think about that. So the first thing is thinking about reflecting on yourself. So thinking about the things that you're passionate about. And again, this is like a writing exercise you can do with yourself. If you're somebody that you feel like you have something in you, or you want to achieve. And again, you can start with using that wellness wheel as you're reflecting on yourself and your finances, or your physical wellness, or your occupational wellness, right? Consider what you're passionate about, what energizes you, and what matters most, right? Thinking about your future. So think about how you see yourself in the future and what you want to achieve. And I want to be clear when I talk about how you see yourself, not how yourself has been, not the mistakes you may have made, not the things that have happened. But without all of that, thinking about like, how do I see myself in the future? What would I like to see of myself in the future? Um, Determine your values. So consider what principles you need to achieve these goals. Creating a plan. So if you start with creating a strategic plan, and I'll give you an example on like SMART goals on how you can do that, and write down these thoughts that you're having. So your vision needs to be very specific, very clear, and have a sense of purpose. A lot of people have dreams, and I have this really dope clip from Denzel Washington where he talks about the difference between dreams and goals. It's so important to think about that. But a lot of people have dreams, but not goals, right? Goals is like an action thing. Dreams is something, everybody has dreams that they can think about. So I really want you to think about those steps right here, as I just went over, how you can work on getting to the point of understanding what your vision is, okay? And then using this wellness wheel as you're trying to create what your vision is, you can use this wellness wheel, and that way you can break up the different areas in your life. So setting goals, like why is setting goals so important? So you can define your vision. So consider what you want to achieve, and then create a clear vision. Now, this thing about SMART goals, I'm going to show you an example on what SMART goals is, so that you can have a clear idea on what that looks like. So you see this on the screen. So people that are listening on the audio, so making your goals SMART, right? So specific. Let's say like I'm going to get fit. Like sometimes people may be like, I want to get more fit. So what are you going to do to be fit, right? So I'm going to specifically say I'm going to run. And then we typically would say I'm going to run more, right? Like I used to say like I'm going to read more. Like what does that even mean? So instead of saying I'm just going to run more, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to try to run twice a week. Achievable, right? So for at least 2 miles, right? Like really be specific. It may be 1 mile. It may be like I want to walk for at least 20 minutes. Be specific on what that looks like. And then relevant, right? This one, it says, so I can finish a marathon. Let's say their goal is to run a marathon. It could be so that I can walk better up the stairs without not being able to breathe. And then when will I get this done, right? I'm going to make sure that I get to this and do this consistently. So by the end of 2024, this is what I'm doing. So as you're thinking about setting your goals, really think about like, are they specific? A specific example for me that I've talked about on the podcast, and if you follow my Instagram stories, reading more was something I wanted to do. But at the beginning of the year, I was just like, oh, I want to read more. I wasn't clear. I wasn't specific. I wasn't intentional. And so when I thought about it, I said, you know what? I'm going to read at least 25 minutes a night. And so that I want to at least finish one book a month. That was my goal, right? And then now, like I've superseded it. Like I read longer than that. But it took me creating this plan, this intentional plan, in order for me to be able to get to that point. So setting SMART goals can help you get more specific with your plan. Prioritizing your goals. So focus your time and energy on the most productive activities. Pay attention to what you're saying yes to. You know, a lot of things that you may want to do may be hindered because your time is being stretched in other areas. And I have this conversation with people all the time. I've had it with myself. it's hard sometimes when you're trying to say no to someone else. It feels like you're doing something wrong, like your stomach's turning, you're sweating, and it's so you saying no to yourself and saying yes to them, it is not fair. And just because you said no doesn't mean you don't care about their problem, doesn't mean you don't empathize with them. But if you continue to allow your time to be taken up by other people, then you'll never get to the place that you want to get to. Right. So, really paying attention to how you're spending your time, prioritizing your goals, like making it a part of your plan, the way you make showering and brushing your teeth part of your plan. Try to make the goals that you say you want to do part of your plan, even if you have so sometimes it's easier for people to say no if they have something already scheduled, right? So even if you don't have nothing scheduled, you can always you can always schedule yourself in. And if you have trouble just saying no period, you could say no, I already have something planned, right? Because you are part of your plans, right? So really treating this goal that you're trying to achieve, and it can be in all areas right here, as you can see: financial, occupational, environment, physical, intellectual, spiritual, right? All of these areas that you're thinking about what's keeping you away from achieving those goals, creating an action plans, being accountable. So sharing your goals with a friend to stay on track. So somebody that I know you can't share things with everyone, but if there's somebody in your life that you guys are on the same path, or you can they're very motivating, you can share that goal with them and say, what, this is my plan, this is what I want to do, and checking in with them, right? Obviously, if you had a therapist or a coach, that would be helpful as well. But if you don't have that, I want people to think outside the box, right? So tracking your progress. So record your progress in a journal, keeping measurements, and align your mindset. So your mindset is key. And then goal setting is important because it allows you to take control of your action, your direction, determine if you're succeeding, spot distractions, and stay motivated. Celebrating the moments as you're doing this, as you're taking these steps to achieving your goals. If you don't celebrate the moments of celebrating what you're doing, you're going to find yourself feeling discouraged, feeling distracted. Pay attention to the stuff you're watching on TV or social media, especially if it's people that are in the same industry as you or on the same path as you. Pay attention to that, how it makes you feel. For me, I get motivated and inspired, but for somebody else, it may feel like they're comparing themselves to that person, right? So if that's the case, right, get off of social media. Don't look at that content, so that your mind's not like, why aren't you there yet? Because a lot of people struggle with that. So pay attention to the things that are creating distraction for you as you're trying to achieve your goal. And then if you're getting rid of those distractions and you're celebrating your moments, that's a huge success. I have this Apple Watch, and every time if I work out and I forget it, I'm like, damn, I forgot it. Because I like to see what I did and how I can do better than yesterday, right? Making your today better than your yesterday, not better than somebody else's, your friends, your coworkers, right? How do I make my day better than my yesterday? And if you work on keeping that mantra as you're trying to fuel your vision, it can really help. But a lot of times, as people are trying to create their goals in these areas of their lives, a lot of hindrance that takes place is this comparison thing, or I'm not there yet, um, a lot of time has passed, right? So we end up discouraging ourselves just by the way that we're framing what we're doing, right? If we can work on reframing it and shifting our mindset, it can start to look different. And so the last thing I want to say, I want to share the difference between dreams and goals. And then we're going to watch Denzel Washington, a little speech that he did that's so famous. Dreams are something you create in your mind that can take any shape or form, while goals are based on taking action. With goals, a lot of focus and attention is needed. Dreams, on the other hand, don't need that kind of focus. You can sit for hours and dream without doing a single thing. And how many times, if you're being honest with yourself, have you scrolled on social media, maybe seen somebody organizing their room or their fridge, or doing something in alignment with what you're doing, and you're like, oh, I can do that, right? Just dreaming about what you can do with no action plan. So let's watch Denzel. He's talking to an audience of people that are graduating, for people that are listening. Let me share my screen. Okay, share.
Fail big. That's right. Fail big. Today's the beginning of the rest of your life, and it can be very frightening. It's a new world out there. It's a mean world out there, and you only live once. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances professionally. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals. Life goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals. I try to give myself a goal every day. Sometimes it's just to not curse somebody out. Simple goals, but have goals. And understand that to achieve these goals, you must apply discipline and consistency. In order to achieve your goals, you must apply discipline, which you have already done, and consistency every day, not just on Tuesday and miss a few days. You have to work at it every day. You have to plan every day. You've heard the saying, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. Hard work works. Working really hard is what successful people do. And in this text, tweet, twerk world that you've grown up in, remember, just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Remember that. Just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Don't confuse movement with progress. My mother told me, she said, yeah, because you can run in place all the time and never get anywhere. So continue to strive, continue to have goals, continue to progress.
All right, that was Denzel Washington. And one of the things that stood out for me, and so, if that was powerful, like, think about like the thing that stood out for you, but the thing that stood out for me is that when you just have dreams, you're always with disappointment, right? And so a lot of times people are disappointed at where they are, but thinking about, well, what am I doing to get there? Growing up in the world where everything's so fast paced, I find that so many people get more discouraged than encouraged. And the discouragement is because they're measuring themselves to somebody else that may have been in the game longer or had a leg up or didn't have the same circumstances. Who knows? We'll never know. But if you can just work on making sure that you are looking at what you're doing today and how you're going to achieve it differently tomorrow. How am I going to grow? How am I going to be 1% better? Right. And if you can do that, the consistency and the discipline starts to look different. So as we close, building a strong foundation around your vision is important. So these are the things that I kind of thought about, and you can always add to the list, right? As you're thinking, as we're ending, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, huge, right? And if you don't have specific people in your life, as I was building out this wellness center, I don't have people in my life that has a wellness center. Right. So what did I do? I went to books and I went to YouTube. I'm listening to something every day that's kind of encouraging me. And so a lot of times people will say, well, I don't have anybody in my life that's on the same track as me. Okay. But guess what? I mean, I just talked about the internet and everything being so fast paced, but on the flip side, you have other options. Use those options, right? Staying focused and adaptable to change. Things are going to change. They're not going to be the same. If you have strict thinking on what you thought it would look like and what it should look like, you're going to find yourself disappointed. And it's okay to feel disappointment, but don't stop the process because you have to change something or change the plan. Prioritizing your self-care, I honestly should have put that at the top. That has to be number one. There's a lot of motivational videos I love and watch, but the idea of no sleep and this stuff, that rhetoric, I don't subscribe to. Making sure you're nourishing your body, you're moving your body, making sure that you are you're sleeping well. Those are important. So, don't get so caught up in like trying to fuel your vision and your passion that you forget about yourself, because you're going to have a successful business and you're miserable. Who wants that? Like, nobody would ever intentionally sign up for that. The issue is that we're constant, sometimes for people that may be fueling their dream but not taking care of themselves, there's this like mismatch of energy of like business is growing, but I'm not growing. So self-care has to be a priority if you're going to work on fueling your dreams. Learning how to visualize what you desire. I shared on my Instagram stories last week or the week before, I was super anxious. And, as I'm building out this wellness center, the thing that keeps me going outside of the things that I'm doing is the visualization of like what it's going to look like how many people are going to get things that they need to get done in life because they're at this wellness center and they're able to see people that look like them, right? So being able to visualize your plan, if it's financial and you're struggling financially, you know what? Like, I'm going to sit down, write down the things that I need to pay off or where I need to cut some things off, and then I can see myself next year having this bill paid off. Being able to visualize it, why it's so helpful is because it allows your mind to see the possibilities, and now your mind is working in the direction of your goal, and it's not working against your goal. A lot of times your mind is working against your goal because you're not fueling your passion and your goals with information, with being around other people, right? And so if you're doing that and you're visualizing it, yeah, you may feel anxious as you're trying to do it, but you're going to be consistent and disciplined because your mind is going to keep showing you and the possibilities that are going to be available to you. Pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. It matters. The way you talk to yourself about yourself. You made a mistake. You forgot to reach out to somebody, whatever it is. Damn, I made that mistake. But you know what? Next time I'm going to make sure I put it in my calendar. If you're not doing that, and if you're talking down to yourself, your voice is the most important voice that matters. I can tell my child I'm proud of them, but if they are not saying I'm proud of me too, then it's like it's harder to receive. And so even when I'm talking to them about like, oh, I'm so proud of you, like, how do you feel? Oh, I feel proud too. Like I'm constantly reminding them to say that language to themselves, because I recognize the lack of being able to do that has hindered people as an adult, because their voice is a bully and it's not somebody that's motivating. And then staying intentional about your plan, because life gets in the way. Life happens. And a lot of people have been on a trajectory to working on their goals and something's happened. So really being mindful and intentional about the process. So I hope this was helpful. I just shared, I need to do an email as well. I haven't done that, but I'm having an open house November 2nd between 12:30 and 3 o'clock in Stoughton. And I'm so excited about it. It's my birthday weekend as well. So the goal in this open house is like for wellness providers to see the space, because you can rent space out, and for people to see the space so that, when they're going on the website and they're looking at the calendar to see what's available for a class. My goal is to decolonize what wellness looks like. And to make it so that people don't think because they don't have a psychiatrist or therapist that they can't get healing. I feel like the new thing that needs to happen is more community care, more like people getting together, right? Like this isolation of healing doesn't work. It was never meant for us. And so a lot of people are isolated trying to work on their healing, when we need to be more together. So community like wellness and community care. So as the months go on and I continue to build out programming, you'll be able to find different classes around these areas right here, around these areas. So emotional, social. I want to have like a movie night, a paint night, right? Sorry, hold on. Sorry. I want to do different kind of, give me 1 second. Different kind of social things, because that's important. Sorry, financial classes, right? All of those things I want to do, where you can go onto the website and you'll be able to like see what's available. And I know the more we start healing as a community and together, it's going to start looking different, right? I love individual therapy. I think it's helpful. I think it's great. I also think that community wellness and care is equally as important. So that's the plan. That's what I'm trying to do. So if you want to learn more about me, you can go to celestethetherapist.com. If you want to learn more about the practice, you can go to stwyt.com. And if there's ever a topic that you want to hear or hear me talk about, just let me know. And until next time, I will talk to you later.